all of a sudden, it occurred to me, this isn't right. And I experienced a level of insult that reverberates to this very day.
The soldiers who fought in World War II are often called the greatest generation. However, black soldiers are rarely considered in this group. Racial segregation was legally sanctioned, and the military carried out this preference in their assignment of troops. Still, black soldiers persevered on both the home front and the battlefront. They fought against discrimination and the Axis powers, yet their contributions remain unheralded and their valor overlooked. Black soldiers of the greatest generation significantly contributed to the war effort and then became foot soldiers in the civil rights movement. This is a story of a war on two fronts.
Ever since I was a young kid, I'd always told myself I wanted to be a soldier. And this opportunity came along, and I decided to join the service. I was drafted February 1941, without any reservation about the segregation aspect.
The Buffalo Soldiers and Blue Helmets received most of their infantry training at Fort Huachuca, Arizona, about 20 miles north of the Mexico border. Ironically, this segregation actually led to a type of raised consciousness. You cannot have some 15,000 armed men learning to shoot and salute without advocating for better treatment or equality. As they trained to fight against the Axis powers overseas, they experienced many unfriendly civilian encounters on the home front.
As I stood outside this restaurant, I managed to look into the dining room, and here were a number of young men in uniforms, white men. I later learned they were Italian prisoners of war. Of course, the young women were serving them friendly, young women exposed to handsome young men in uniforms. Here I am, a young man wearing the uniform of my country, being trained to engage the enemy in battle. I'm an American soldier, and I'm denied the right to go into this restaurant and eat, and lo and behold, here we are entertaining foreign prisoners of war.
After 2 years of stateside training and mistreatment, the men were shipped overseas to the Pacific or the European theater. In the Pacific campaign, black soldiers were split into smaller units and dispersed among numerous islands. Jungle fighting and island hopping was completely different than the desert training that they experienced stateside.
Our job has been to hold the island of Hamara, which is 12 miles from here and crawling with 37,000 Japanese soldiers. Their job is to retake the island. Sometimes their suicide units break through and would go again. It's really nasty business hunting them down like dogs and killing them. Nelson Perry, World War II veteran, Pacific campaign, and letters to his mother.
Black soldiers of the Buffalo Soldier Division were in frequent contact with European civilians. Racial segregation was not a factor in European society, except in areas under the control of the U.S. Armed Forces. Black soldiers experienced an atmosphere of equality that did not exist in America. They also experienced the hardships of war against the German enemy entrenched in the mountains of Italy.
November 20th, 1944. Dear Mom and Pop, the Jerry artillery and firing keeps you very jumpy, and you are not so at ease of mind. 5 colored officers have been killed in action so far. 2 were my classmates at OCS. Has the 92nd published any casualty list in the colored papers? We are getting a raw deal. We have been on the line for 82 days, and we don't know when we're going to get relieved. We thought the election would change things, but it hasn't. The men are lousy, sick, frostbitten, shell-shocked, and scared. Spencer Seymour, letters, 92nd Infantry.
After the war, some African Americans stayed in the service and helped train a new generation of soldiers for future engagements in Korea and Vietnam. They also took part in the desegregation of the military that began in 1948 with President Truman's Executive Order 9981. Many of the veterans and their children became active foot soldiers in the civil rights movement.
The military, in my opinion, Maggie, took the lead in making changes, took the lead in breaking down racial discrimination. They still have some problems, but they took the lead. They're far way out there in comparison with the society in general. And I don't regret my military career for 1 second. I'll do it over.
I never felt that anyone had the right to treat me or my people unjustly, so I became a fierce and vigorous and ferocious activist. And my father actually kept me from moving into the Southern movement because he told me, and he looked at me straight in the eye. He said, I trained you to walk with your head held high, to look at people straight in their eye and never bow your head. You are not to go anywhere and let people throw stuff at you, sick dogs on you, put hoses on you, and you are not to bow down and sing.
Over 1.2 million African Americans participated in World War II. Many of the men were on the front lines of the civil rights movement as well. They fought those battles too. This is really a story of a war on two fronts. Today in 2015, not many of these men and women who fought in World War II are with us, but their legacy will still be remembered and they will not be forgotten.
The purpose of our organization now, because it's older, we don't have the membership. You know, one time we had 150, 200 people. We're down to about, if we got 100, we're lucky. So I want to preserve the history, keep it alive, make it possible so that my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren will know that their grandfather fought in World War II. I mean, you know yourself. What did you know about the 92nd before this? Zero, exactly. And you should. It's part of our history. Good, bad, or indifferent, it's still part of our history.